Hello students and welcome to another video. I'm your teacher, Mr. Flynn, and today we're going to be going over RNA. Okay, so we've spent a lot of time talking about DNA. We've talked about how it replicates, we've talked about its structures. Now we're going to get into RNA. So RNA essentially is different than DNA, but it's used to create proteins. It's actually putting the code to work. And let me explain some of the differences here before we get into how it works, okay? So DNA has nucleotides, and so does RNA. They both have these nucleotides. They're very similar to each other, but one is double-stranded, and then one is single-stranded. So if it's in a single strand, it's RNA. If it's double-stranded, it's DNA, okay? And the big difference between RNA and DNA is the sugar. So we have deoxyribose for DNA, and then we just have ribose for our in our backbone. Sorry, right here. Yep, it says right here. The sugar backbone is made of ribose instead of deoxyribose. Okay? Now, the nucleotides are the same except for one. Instead of having a T, it's now a U, standing for uracil. All right, so DNA and RNA are similar in the sense that they have backbones, they have bases, but there is some differences between thymine and uracil. They just replaces each other, okay? And DNA is found in the nucleus. It doesn't leave the nucleus, okay? And it stays in there, and it is a storage place for the code. This RNA is like making a copy of the code and then going out and doing something with it. It's like, for example, I want to build a house, right? My DNA represents the blueprints that are being stored at the facility, right? They don't leave the facility. They stay there. And if I want to make a copy, I can make a copy of the plans, and then I can take them to the job site, and then I can go do something with those plans. Like I actually now can create the house, right? So this is the copy, because we don't want to take our master copy out into the world. What happens if something happens to it? Well, we don't have the copy to rely on, right? If I took the master copy, the only copy, and I went out and was on a job site and something happened at the job site where part of it got destroyed, well, now I've lost that part of the DNA or that part of the architectural drawings that I need to build my house. Well, why don't I just go back to the storage facility and go and get a new copy, right? Just make a copy of it. Just keep it there and make a copy. All right, so basically, this is how the body goes and creates proteins. It goes and creates things that can do functions within the body. It creates a copy, okay? Now, there's different types of RNA. All right. Now, the types of RNA are messenger RNA, ribosomal RNA, and tRNA. And we represent them as M, R, and T. And this is kind of what they look like. Okay, one looks like a strand like DNA. Basically, ribosomal RNA is a ribosome. We've learned about ribosomes. They're used to make proteins. And then we have transfer RNA, okay, which helps build it takes the building blocks of proteins and puts them together for us, okay? Now, we're going to go through and explain how the process works, okay? All right, so there's a lot going on in this image, and I'll try to break it down for you. Essentially, there's two parts. Part one, we have what we call transcription, and then part two is called translation. Now, when we talk about transcription, okay, we're like transcribing, okay? Now, before we had the printing press, all right, we used to have people that used to do transcription. They would read a book, and they would write down each word verbatim what was written down. And basically, we would have another book eventually in a few weeks. We'd have one more copy. All right, now that took a long time. Today, we can basically do transcription by using the printing press and creating massive amounts of books very quickly, okay? All right, so we're transcribing. Okay, we're making a copy of. All right, we're not translating. Translating is a new language. Okay, we're now making it into something that's different than what it is. Transcription is basically a direct copy, word for word. And you'll notice the DNA is in purple, and then this messenger RNA, okay, comes in and makes a copy of a certain section of DNA that it wants to code for. Okay, and so these little amino acids okay, are going to come in and latch on and create this coding on this segment of DNA. And then once it hits the end, it goes outside the nucleus, it goes outside the storage facility, and then it's put to work. Okay? And what happens is mRNA, tRNA, and rRNA are all put together to do the job. Okay? So mRNA, right down here at the bottom, is fed through the ribosome. Okay? And as it feeds through the ribosome, okay, tRNA attaches to the section. Okay? Now, and the section that it codes for is a 3-letter segment called a codon. Now, these 3-letter segments right here, you can see there's 3 on each of these, right? It attaches to a part of this code. And what it's doing is it's bringing these amino acids, and I've highlighted them in green, and it's attaching them together. So the next one's going to come in, and it's going to attach another amino acid. And so it's bringing it and making a new language, right? The new language that it's making is called a protein, all right? That's why it's called translation. We're taking RNA, and now we're creating proteins. Now, proteins, the building blocks of them are these amino acids, these little green squares on top, right? So the tRNA is transferring these amino acids and building them, right? But now that we have the code, right, this mRNA is the code, the ribosome creates the environment for the tRNA to come in and to match the code that's being given and attaching these amino acids. All right. So this is like the central dogma of biology. Is this is what's going on. This is what's the driving force of genetics and all the functions within our bodies. Right. We're thinking about hair. Like if you're growing hair, you need proteins, right, to grow that keratin, to build those strong strands. Well, the keratin is made up of these little amino acids, which are coded by your DNA. All right, and your DNA has this nice process of transcription and translation to create whatever protein it needs. If you want to make proteins that are for your heart or for your liver or for your eyes, right? This is the main process in how it's done. Okay? Now, this will take some time to review, and we're going to have some simulations with this where you're going to practice transcription and translation. Okay? Thanks again for watching. Until next time.